In the sun-bleached cul-de-sacs of Desert Bloom Estates, Arizona, where every lawn had to be exactly 2.7 inches and every flagpole exactly 18 feet, one Saturday morning turned a grieving veteran's quiet ritual into the match that lit the whole neighborhood on fire. Because when Evelyn Langford decided a Purple Heart hero watering his late wife's roses was threatening property values, she never dreamed the same bylaws she worshipped would become the noose around her neck. Harlan Hank Whitaker, 72, stood in his dress blues the way he had every Saturday for 3 years since Eleanor's ashes went into the soil beneath those crimson roses. The uniform wasn't a costume. It was medicine, VA prescribed, PTSD therapy the doctors swore helped more than any pill. Sun glinted off his medals while he hummed an old army cadence and misted the blooms. Then the click-clack of designer heels shattered the peace. "Mr. Whitaker," Evelyn snapped, clipboard already out like a sheriff's badge, "remove that outfit immediately. This is a respectable community, not a VFW hall." Her smile was all teeth and zero warmth. Section 4.2, Appropriate Attire in Visible Areas. Fine is $200. Pay by Friday or it doubles daily. Hank set the watering can down slowly, the patience of 30 combat missions written in every line of his face. "Ma'am, I'm on my own property. The charter says residents may maintain dignified personal expression on private lots. These roses are my wife's memorial. You approved the exact same variety for Mrs. Alvarez last spring." Evelyn's laugh was brittle. "That's different. Mrs. Alvarez isn't parading around like it's the 4th of July every weekend. Property values, Mr. Whitaker. Standards." She waved at his uniform like it smelled bad. "Some of us actually care about the neighborhood's image." Across the street, 16-year-old Tyler was shirtless in neon basketball shorts, blasting music while he washed his truck. No clipboard for him. Hank tilted his head. "So Tyler's six-pack is fine, but my service ribbons aren't? Interesting how the rules only bite when you decide they do." Her face flushed the color of cheap rose. 7 days, Mr. Whitaker, or we lean your house." She spun on her heel, heels stabbing the gravel like tiny guillotines. By Monday the whole board, 3 of Evelyn's golf buddies and 1 terrified accountant, had voted to clarify the attire rule: no military insignia visible from any street. They even added a new clause about unapproved wildlife attractors, because Hank's roses apparently hosted aggressive pollinators. Bees. She was finding a man for bees. Hank didn't yell. He simply walked to the county recorder's office, pulled the original 1998 charter, and found Section 12C in faded ink. Patriotic displays, including uniforms, flags, and commemorative plantings honoring military service, shall be protected community assets. He smiled for the first time in days. Then he noticed the developer's signature on page 1, Langford Construction, owned by Evelyn's husband, who'd just pocketed 3 no-bid HOA contracts worth $187,000. The appeal hearing was standing room only. Evelyn banged her gavel like she was auditioning for judge. Motioned to uphold the citation and the new rule. Hank stepped to the mic, voice calm as morning drill. "Before you vote, Madam President, perhaps the board should read the charter you all swore to uphold. Page 12. Or should I read it aloud while your husband's company invoice sits in my folder?" The room went graveyard quiet. One board member actually started sweating through his polo. Evelyn's smile cracked. "Outdated language. Current bylaws supersede." "Funny," Hank said softly, "because your own enforcement log shows you waived the exact same attire rule for your son's ROTC uniform at homecoming." "Selective enforcement, Mrs. Langford. Federal courts love that phrase." She rammed the motion through anyway, 3-1. But the damage was done. Phones started lighting up. Neighbors who'd been fined for culturally insensitive holiday lights suddenly remembered every time Evelyn's McMansion broke setback rules. The next week she sent a surveyor to verify boundaries. 3 hours later the poor man delivered the verdict in front of half the block. Hank's roses sat 2 inches inside his line. Evelyn's new deck jutted 3 feet into common area. She turned purple. "That's impossible." Hank just sipped his coffee. "Ma'am, your own emergency fund check paid for that deck. Public record. Want me to read the amount?" She escalated again. Hired a private eye to document the bee hazard. The guy got caught digging through Hank's trash at 2 a.m. by neighbor Doris, who'd been quietly collecting her own folder for 2 years. Doris posted the blurry security cam stills in the community chat with the caption, "When your HOA president spends $800 an hour to prove roses are scary." Then came the midnight raid no one saw coming. At 2:17 a.m. Evelyn, dressed in black like a discount ninja, crept into Hank's yard with pruning shears. She hacked every rose to stubs, trampling Eleanor's plaque into the dirt, muttering, "Standards have to maintain standards." Doris's new motion sensor camera caught it all in 4K. The next morning Hank stood in the wreckage, uniform still pressed, face carved from granite. He didn't cry. He simply called the county sheriff, then the VA, then the local news. By Friday the story was everywhere. HOA president decapitates Veterans Memorial Garden on camera. Evelyn tried the nuclear option. Emergency board vote to dissolve the entire HOA and liquidate assets before federal investigators arrived. She even transferred $94,000 to her husband's shell company that same afternoon. Obstruction of justice, the FBI called it when they showed up Monday with warrants. The final showdown happened at the emergency city council meeting. Evelyn marched in with her $900 an hour lawyer, still convinced spin could save her. "This is harassment," she shrieked, pointing at Hank. "He weaponized his little uniform to destroy everything I built." Hank stood slowly, metals catching the light. "Ma'am, I didn't build anything on lies and stolen HOA money. You did. 30 years ago I swore to defend this country from enemies foreign and domestic. Never figured the domestic ones would wear pearls and carry clipboards." The room erupted. Doris slid the 4K vandalism footage across the table. The forensic accountant dropped the $187,000 no-bid trail. The VA doctor confirmed the uniform was protected medical treatment under the ADA. Federal agents waited by the door. Evelyn's lawyer tried one last Hail Mary. "My client is the real victim here." The lead agent cut him off. "Ma'am, you're under arrest for vandalism, wire fraud, civil rights violations, and attempting to dissolve an organization under federal investigation. Turn around." Handcuffs clicked. Evelyn's scream echoed off the council chamber walls like a dying regime. 6 months later, Desert Bloom Estates had a new charter, written by veterans, teachers, and actual humans. Hank's roses bloomed again, stronger, planted by the whole block. Every Saturday he still wore the blues, but now kids asked to salute and neighbors waved instead of whispering. True or false? In the end, who really abused power? The veteran quietly honoring his wife, or the HOA queen who turned community standards into her own private dictatorship? Drop your verdict below. Was it justice served, or just the most satisfying karma you've seen all year?